Okay, people, we are on. We are on live.
You're in a good mood today, mate. I wonder why.
I'm in a great mood, mate. I'm in a great mood.
So who is going to be the first comment of the week? Game on. The competition has started. Or has it?
Hello, everybody.
Right, look. Let's just I'm going to cut the music short this week because let's just let you get your bragging out of the way. Liverpool, if you don't like football, just turn off your ears for a minute. Liverpool 1-1. They're about to lose their Champions League hopes. The season's over. The goalkeeper decides to stroll up into the box. So he's run about, 250 meters. It's the 94th minute. They need a goal.
Time's up.
The goalkeeper. What is that all about, mate? You must have been going mental yesterday.
I absolutely lost it, mate. I went absolutely crazy. I was at my parents' house watching it, and you just can't help it. Like the emotions of football, the emotions of sport. I did go pretty crazy, and my mum came in because I was at my mum's house, and she thought something really bad had happened. I think I might have jumped on her. Oh God!
See, when there's football on, my mum knows to get out of the room when my dad's there.
I know.
And if it's me and my dad together, she just goes out the house. It's not worth it.
Do you know what? I went in the other room. All the kids were in the other room, but my nephew decided he's 9 years old to come in, and he just kept asking me questions and questions and questions, and I'm like, I can't be rude. He's a 9-year-old kid, so who do you think? I know, and I was like, just go. But no, all good, mate. All good. It was great. That is
unbelievable.
Beautiful. That's what we love sport for. Those are unexpected.
From a probability point of view, you're a data guy, right? You're a probabilities man. What were the chances when the goalkeeper ran up into the other box? We see it all the time, but for him to actually connect with his head and for it to go in the top corner, what are the chances of that? Unbelievable.
Apparently, it's never happened before. Liverpool.
Exactly.
No Liverpool goalkeepers ever scored from open play. So he's the first one in Liverpool's history. Amazing.
Right. If you're anti-football, just take your hands out your ears now. We're back.
That's it.
That was only a minute and a half. So how you doing, guys? Hopefully you've had as equally an entertaining weekend. I had a nice chilled out one. And as Andy, I'm sure is going to tell you all, so I might as well get it out. I decided to make some homemade bread, which Andy found hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, this apron.
Do you not cook anything?
Huh?
Do you not cook anything?
Don't put this back on me, mate. Don't try and I know I can see it happening, mate. Very smart. Let's focus on the bread making. Why you're making bread and you don't want to go spend £2 in the supermarket or $2 Australian or whatever it is.
There's a part of that. There is a part of that. I'm not going to lie. You know me too well, mate. So I'm not even going to try and deny that. But mate, to make your own of anything.
Mate, you were doing it all day.
No,
I messaged you in the morning, and then in the afternoon you were still saying, "I'm making bread."
Okay, now you're lying. Now you're lying.
No, I'm not.
When you have a bread machine, mate, I'm not Italian. I'm not going to make the whole thing out, but you put the ingredients in a certain order. I made a homemade spelt loaf. Really clean ingredients, so like coconut oil, some Himalayan salt, a few other little bits and pieces, spelt flour.
Did you eat?
Came out. My missus made a big veggie soup. It was amazing. And that smell when you pull it out of the tin and you are there just to cut it. And oh yeah, it's amazing.
Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
If anybody else makes any homemade bread, just let me know in the comments. Probably not, but there we go. Right, so comments. Thank you very much for logging into StreamYard. We love new names. Roddy Fraser is in the house. Thank you, Roddy. Cool photo. And thank you for registering and commenting. So according to Roddy, the fact that that goalie goes in and scores that goal for you is 1,500 to 1. I'd have thought it'd be even bigger odds than that. But that would have been really interesting. You wouldn't, be honest, you wouldn't have even, in that moment, you wouldn't have even wasted 10 of your English pounds, would you?
No, I wouldn't.
And they gave only 1,500 to 1, but thanks a lot for that, Roddy. Thanks for tuning in as well. Facebook user, identify yourself. Please click on the link for StreamYard so that we can see your face like we did for Roddy, and we can see your name. Najit's in the house. Good afternoon. Where are you, Najit? If you're saying good afternoon, let us know, because we've got viewers and members from all over the world. Our tribe is gathering pace at a really good rate. We've got members all over the world, like I just said. And Con, you are getting closer, my friend. You are almost there catching the fish, which in this instance is the first comment of the show. But the comment king has prevailed. Slavomir, again, is there anybody that can topple this man in the comments?
I don't think so.
I don't think there is. This is like an amazing streak, isn't it?
It is. He's just he's phenomenal at this game. if he makes money in crypto the way he does this, the way he comments, mate, he's gonna be one rich man. Rich mofo.
Did you just say the C word?
No, I didn't say any C word.
If he makes money in C word, I'm sure you just said that.
No, I didn't say.
Did he just say the word crypto?
You said it.
No, he didn't. No, before, I'm just saying. I'm just repeating what you said.
No, don't say that. I didn't really say anything.
Guys. Okay, listen. You can be the judge and the jury. Did he say the C word on the FX show?
Did Gaven say the C word just now?
Not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. Najit's all the way from Bristol. Okay, so she was actually just being figuratively. Actually, it is good afternoon now by 8 minutes. So, okay. I thought it was going to be somewhere a bit more glamorous or exotic, but Bristol is a cool place. I've been there a few times. Good to have you here, my friend. That's cool. Linda in the house. Haven't seen you for a while. Where is the StreamYard link? No need to ask, Linda. You've already got it. And thank you very much for joining us. So today, in today's show, we are going to be talking about red flags and one of your pet peeves, which is scammers. It's something that most people know someone, either hopefully not yourselves, but know someone who has been scammed from this. And I think in the title that I put in the Facebook group to promote the show, I was like, what do guaranteed comments, fast cars, and tons of 5-star reviews all have in common? Apparently, over £30 million in the last 12 months, people have been swindled or scammed out of over £30 million when it comes to investing in the stock market or FX market. So obviously, you're a legit guy. You're showing that you're legit. You're building this group, which is amazing. But there's so many people that are trying to make themselves out to be something that they're not. And I know it's a bit of a pet peeve of yours. So what are some of the biggest red flags that people can look out for?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with scams is there's different variations of them, and there are sort of people that overpromise and underdeliver. So they promise, they hype, and there is some kind of product. So there's that. I would class that as a bit of a scam, if I'm being honest. So if you go to an event, if you go to like a seminar and they tell you, you're going to become an overnight millionaire, you don't have to do any work, just follow our signals, click a few buttons and your account's just going to grow. Now, firstly, you have to be quite naive to believe it, but some of these people are very smart. They're very good at selling you the dream, and then you fall for it. I mean, that's one. I class that as a form of scam. And then there's the real outright scams where they literally are stealing your money for nothing. They're offering you a zero, where they're just pretending that you're making money. They're taking your money and they're essentially giving you nothing, no value. And when you go to try and withdraw, there's nothing really there. So if we talk about those scams, which is absolute theft, I think the first thing you got to do and think about is, and people may not want to hear this, but I will always say what I feel is the truth, is that you have to be responsible for that happening to you. Like, the number one responsibility is on you. Like, it's not the scammer, because there's a lot of bad people out there, a lot of people who are desperate. And you don't know other people's situation. People are desperate, and when they're desperate, they do desperate things. But I would question, if you've ever been scammed, I would question, firstly, what your mindset was like to be scammed. Like, why, what have they said to you? What has been promised? And did it seem too good to be true, but you went ahead anyway? What was your thinking pattern? I would really spend time on that first. But aside from that, and I know that these people take advantage of people that don't have any knowledge. So I don't want to be too critical or too harsh, because sometimes, people don't really understand how the world of finance works and what is deemed as something crazy until it's kind of pointed out to people. So, Gavin, I've had conversations with people that, they have, when they first get started, they have such crazy expectations that it can only come down to a lack of understanding. So, like, for example, you might have somebody that says, like, oh, I've got £500 to invest, and all I want is £100 a day, nothing more. Just £100 a day. That's all I want. I don't want anything more. Now, there might even be people listening to thinking, well, yeah, sounds reasonable. But do the maths of what that looks like, right? That's 20% a day. Now, who can do 20% a day consistently for the next 2-3 years? I mean, you'd be a multi-billionaire if you can do that off a £500 account. But people think that that can happen, right? And why do they think this can happen? Because of some things that they read on Instagram, people posting Lamborghinis and all those sort of things, and how they're making all this money from starting with small amounts. So it kind of just sets people up for failure. And then so if you come with that belief system, it's very easy to be convinced of something. So, I would really kind of think about, it's a real tricky one, because you have to take a leap of faith. You have to trust someone, but do your due diligence. Get to know them, understand what they're about. Like, if somebody's coming in and sending you a link or promising you, or calling you unsolicited, like without any kind of, you don't know who they are, you've never seen them before. They're sending you to some website with no indication or protection. Like, where are they based? What kind of protection have you got? Are they credible? Are they knowledgeable? Do they have any background, track record, any of those sort of things? If you're not doing those checks, and then you're just like, yeah, deposit £200, because that's part of the trick. Because, like, it's so easy to convince somebody to put £100 into an account, because it's money that most people have got, right? But the whole point is that they're going to show you how your £100 has become 1,000 or 2,000, and they're going to make you feel like you've missed out on much bigger gains, and you're going to deposit more and more and more and more and more and more, and you're going to think you're getting rich on paper, but really they're just absolutely fleecing you. And that's the model. So £100, £200, if anybody's asking you to deposit that sort of money and just follow my signals and you're going to make loads of money, run a mile. Like, you never trust anyone like that.
And is it just in the retail side that this happens? Obviously, there's been the massive Ponzi schemes, but from your time working in the city all those years for the hedge funds and the banks and the trading floors and stuff, have you ever heard of any kind of real horror stories of anything like that? Or is it just the horror stories that you've heard from all your years in the retail? Because obviously a lot of people reach out to you privately to try and help them get out of the SH brown stuff that they've put themselves in, right? And I know you've helped, in the last 9-10 months since I know that you will help these people, and then they get the money back, and then they kind of just go off to their next little pipe dream. Some of the time they stick around and they want to educate themselves. But firstly, the question is, was there anything like that you heard of in the city where that would kind of either the city go to the retail people or city go within the city?
Yeah, I mean, there are institutions that are kind of grey area that are that approach people. So there's like out scams, and then you've got ones that have actually even got licenses, like CISEC licenses or FCA licenses.
Really?
Yeah, and they're kind of grey area where they kind of softly encourage people to take trades to their earn commission, but they do it in a clever way that they're not kind of liable unless you can kind of prove it. So they might call you, and this is like, I've learned this a lot from helping people, but for example, they might normally call you on the normal phone, which is recorded, but then if they want to give you a small little tip off, it'll be on a mobile, which is not recorded. So always record calls is a good piece of advice. So especially if you're getting, like, you can do it on your iPhone. Like if you're speaking to your broker, I would, and you've got any doubts about the advice or a little inkling that actually maybe this could go wrong, I would just record those calls, because calls can go missing very easily when they record them. So yeah, so there's a lot of those grey areas, and then that's how you kind of get your money back, because you threaten to take them to the licensed people, and then they make you an offer, and normally you can negotiate that offer to get most of your money back. So those things happen, and then you've got you've got illegally funded ones. So the money that they've used to set up their firms have come from illegal activity. So at some point they could get, found out, and then they could go as well. Which is why a big reason why I always tell people is go with a reputable company. Like, go with a company that's been around for years, that's, because if you go with, these new companies, they start up, new brokers, they start up and they offer zero spreads, and they offer all these incentives, which obviously a lot of that's been taken away now with the FCA, and CISEC and any European license. You can't really incentivize people, but you've got offshore ones that can. So it's very easy to incentivize people to, offshore, with bonuses to open up accounts. But then, things can go wrong very, very quickly, and you've got no protection. So it's always better to go with a reputable company, which is what we recommend. And at least then you've got all the protection. So if something goes wrong, you're going to be quite safe. And in terms of like sort of firms doing that, I mean, or firms, not so much. I mean, them doing it to retail, yeah. I mean, I've never seen it the other way around, or where an institution's basically getting scammed, if that was your question. But no, it's more retail. I would say that happens a lot too, and it's just kind of really taking advantage of people that don't know enough. So I'm always asked all the time now, like people reach out to me and just ask me, does this sound legitimate? And instantly, just based on what they're offering, I know. Like, I don't even need to look, because it's the same model. It works. That's why they do it. They use the same model. It's like they've figured out the model that works, that gets people hooked. But and then they take advantage of people. So yeah.
Wow, that's crazy that even in this day and age it can still work. It's pretty nuts actually that's the case. But I guess when, like you said, when people are desperate, they kind of do, logic goes out of the window, and if you kind of act from the emotional point of view, then it's not really going to work, is it?
No, and really, it's like I said before, it's your state of mind, and even trading success is your state of mind. So wealth building is a state of mind. So whether we use trading as a vehicle because it's a great vehicle. It's liquid. You're in complete control. You can make money any time of the day. You can fit it around your work. People are asking me about, I believe you should have multiple sources of income for sure. But ask people that own properties and they will tell you the biggest pain is that money's tied up. You just don't have access to it. So you can be asset rich, but actually cash poor. So when you need money to do stuff, you haven't got the money. So you have to find a balance. The thing with trading is I can make a quick grand now and I can have it in my account the same hour back to spend, right? Now, you just can't do that in a lot of other assets. And so you have to have an abundant mindset, a wealth building mindset, one that's away from fear, one that's away from lack. And when you have that, you won't get scammed because you're not looking for that. You're not open to that. You're not open to these get rich quick things because you're not desperate. But when you have that you're desperate for money, you're desperate to get stuff, you end up kind of thinking, maybe this could be true. Look, I remember I went to this seminar. This was years and years ago. And I knew the guy was a crook. And it's been proven to be the case now. He got done. Darren Winters, do you remember him?
I think so. He was one of the original. He was the original guy sitting out on a red Ferrari, wasn't he? That was him?
Oh my! His seminars were a joke, but it was a joke.
If you're watching in prison, yeah, good on you, mate. But obviously, you're paying your time.
Mate, it was. I went because I wanted to understand more about what he did, and because I was looking at setting up an education firm at that time. It was a long time ago, and I didn't set anything up at that time. But I was just kind of curious, and when I saw what he did, I mean, it was a joke. There's nothing else that I can say to you. I was like, how can this man be okay with ripping people off like this? How can he sleep at night? It was literally, it was cringeworthy, mate. It was so I have this secret and it's in this USB, and when I give you this gold USB, you're going to become rich. It was like that. It was not even far off that. I was like, surely people in here are not believing this absolute nonsense. And because I'd been to, this was the second time I'd been to it. And, there were some excited people at the front. I was just talking to some of them, and I spoke to this woman who I said to her, seriously, do not sign up to anything this man has to offer. It is an absolute sham, but I'm just here just to kind of see what this guy does. And she's like, oh, really? Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you for telling me. So she really believed what I said. 60 minutes later, I kid you not, she is jumping up to buy this guy's thing. I'm like, did we have this 10-minute conversation or not? It was just beyond me. But this is the thing. They have this, I don't know what they use, this hypnotic power. They get people to do stuff. And that's why I kind of it seems a bit harsh to just say, take responsibility if you're being scammed.
Yeah.
Because I think part of it's that. But I think you really have to be I think it's a joint effort, isn't it? If you're open to being scammed and then somebody's great at that, at persuasion, then it's a perfect couple. And that's what happens, unfortunately. And I say it in tongue in cheek because I know people have experienced some really bad times and it's horrible. So
interesting. So Priscilla's saying yes, she remembers Mr. Winters, and Avars says that when scammers approach him, he asks for their FCA reg. But you've just said that even the FCA guys, some of them that are listed up, they're still not legit though, right?
Yeah, there's some, like, FCA is a bit stronger. Like the SISEC license is a bit more of a common one. So there's brokers out there with a SISEC license. But yeah, I mean, like, the thing with the FCA reg, with a broker, yes, that's great. If you're dealing with a trader, you are only going to have an FCA regulation if you're actively managing funds in a firm or actively managing people's funds. But if you're not, then you won't have that. Now, if you look at my name, you will see when I was managing money, my name is on the register, but it will say license expired. Because what happens is that after 12 months of not using that license, it expires. But you can see that I was managing money for people, for firms. So you can definitely check somebody out in that sense, and you can see that they were regulated. But if you don't use your license for 12 months, you lose it, and then you have to reapply. But it's literally like, you don't have to do any exams. Anyone can kind of get a license as long as you have some kind of financial background. But it's expensive. So it's unlikely somebody's going to go and get a license if they're not actually really using it. I mean, they could, but it's unlikely. Like normally, if they're on the register, it's called a CF30 license. It means that they were actively managing money.
Cool. And obviously, just for the record, we're not here to name and shame people. It's just literally, it's something that a lot of people ask. It's something a lot of people speak about. And we know we're getting a lot of new members into the group. So it's just something we want to kind of have an open conversation with you guys. Because look, as much as we try and stop it, there are people in here that are still trying to approach and still trying to scam and still trying to say all of this amazing stuff that's happening. So we just want to we'd rather just have an open conversation about it, check them out, see if they're really legit. Are they giving up their time? Are they creating groups like this? Or are they just trying to take your money? And yeah, at the end of the day, it's your choice and your decision on it. With that being said, what would be good is just to kind of flip from the opposite side, because there are elements of that do work, right? There are elements of certain parts of this, like you can use some signal providers if the person is legit and they're actually legit, rather than just someone who's great at sales or misleading people, because that's not really sales. Sales is adding value. If you've got a product that adds value and you match them up with someone that wants that and it creates value for them, then that's great. But if you're creating value from something that doesn't exist just to make money, then that's pretty much the definition of a scam, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is like, I know good traders. I'm in the industry, but it's one of those that the legit ones don't tend to offer their services. And it depends. I mean, there are situations where they do. Some will. And it just depends on their time of life and what they're doing. But a lot of I enjoy coaching, and I get a lot of value from it. But I know a lot of good traders that I used to trade with that think I'm crazy to even do something like this, to give up my time to coach people that are, beginners, really. Like, even if you're intermediate, if you've been doing it for 2-3 years, if you can, this is not being disrespectful, but if you compare it to the caliber of people that I used to sit next to and the kind of money that they were making next to me, anything in the first 5 years, you're a beginner, really. You're classed in that world, you're a beginner. Like, you need to be kind of trading successfully for at least 5-10 years to be classed anything more than that. But yeah, and that's the thing. That's what the difficulty is that then you have all these companies that don't trade, but they are great at selling you that dream. So it's a real balancing act, because people want to have better lives and they want to do something positive. So all of that is really great. And I really don't want to discourage you from thinking everyone's a scam, because they're not. There will be some good people out there that want to help you. I would always recommend to ask this group. You have a really nice group here that we've created of like-minded people, and there's a lot of value. If you're in this group and you haven't been removed, it's because you're not scamming and you're not spamming, unless we find out about that. But so generally speaking, you're here for the right reason, and you've had experience, and you may have worked with somebody good or had a good service from something that you've done. And we're happy, we don't want unsolicited, I don't want you to give advice to people if you don't know the answer, because it can be very dangerous. Like, I've seen sometimes people ask for, what's a good broker? And I've seen some answers where like the person doesn't trade. He has never traded. And he said, oh, I've heard this broker's good. But I mean, that could be giving somebody really bad advice. You could be sending somebody to a scammer, right? So I would rather that if you're going to give advice to somebody, make sure that you actually know that it's good advice. But in general, use these types of groups to get the answers. And if you've got any doubts, again, use the group. Like, don't just kind of accept the phone call and then give up your credit card and allow these scammers to take your money. But contradicting myself, you have to be open-minded as well, which is the balancing act and the difficult act. Because if you're closed, it's like this. I remember this guy, I learned it when I went to a seminar, when he was talking about wealth building. And he was like, if your fist is like this, nothing can leave, but nothing can come in. So you have to be careful, like not to be closed, because if you're closed, nothing can leave, but nothing will come in. So you have to find a balance. Like, just be smart, but know that if you don't invest, if you're not open to opportunities, you'll be close to everything. So it's a tricky one. So sometimes you have to kind of go through a bad experience, learn from it, and then hopefully find the right help that you need to progress you forward.
Cool. I'm just thinking, actually, that when you're in a trade, or if the trade's not working out, and you get that feeling in your neck, like for everybody's body, it's going to be different. Do you get that, like, because that's obviously a gut instinct thing. Do you get that with deals and dealing with people in general? Because is that some advice that you could try and say, look, try and tune into your body's trying to tell you? Like, would your body tell you if this was a good deal or not, for if you're buying a car or a property or whatever it is that you would be investing in?
I think no, because I think, what I've mentioned there before with trading, listening to your body and listening to, your stress, like where you have your stress and all those kind of things. I think it's because you're doing it all the time and the information. So the information is there. It's in the background. It's been processed by your brain. So it knows what is good and what is bad. And so when it's not good, you can feel it normally in that sense. But when it's kind of like a situation where you've never come across it before, it's a one-off situation. It's not like you're getting scammed every week and you've got used to it. And now you're like, okay, well, I hope you're not getting scammed every week. Yeah. Most people are going to get scammed once or twice. And then they've learned, okay, well, I know that these sort of things are probably, too good to be true. So I'll be more wary of them. And then you kind of don't let that happen again. But if you have, been in that situation, then the best thing you can do is learn from the experience quickly and then move on and work out how you're going to move forward rather than worrying about what's happened, because what's happened has happened. And we all feel stupid sometimes. We've all been there. But you've just got to let it go and push forward. Because if you literally let that dictate your future actions, it's like the equivalent of having a losing trade and saying, well, I'm now scared to take a trade because the last one lost. So I'm expecting the next one to lose as well.
Well, yeah, if we'd never have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner if we took that, the first girl or boy that kind of dumped us or broke our heart. I'm sure you've never been dumped, but for those of us that have,
no one ever dumps me, mate.
we'd be single for the rest of our lives. So yeah, I guess it's just funny how different people have different resistances to whether it's money or love or personal development or relationships. It's a funny old thing, this game called life, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's the people that learn the quickest, the people that respond quickly. It's like, that's happened. How quickly do you move on? Ask yourself that question. Like a setback in your day, like something you've lost. You had £50 in your pocket. You've lost it. How quickly do you bounce back? How long does your feeling linger? Or you bought something, you regret it. How long does it last? Is it like you're talking about a year later, or are you letting go quickly and moving on? Because learn, but then move on. Like, don't let that kind of sit there, because you're literally making it worse by the minute that you're thinking about it. And accept that we will make mistakes. And that's the thing with trading, is that in trading, you are, especially if you're day trading, that's why day trading is tougher. That's why I always tell people day trading is harder, is because you are living your life literally the whole day. Like a whole day is like a month of life, because in terms of emotions. You're like, every single action you're taking, it's like you're having to react to it psychologically. Missing a trade, not getting in a trade, or making lots of money in a trade. All of these create these emotions in you, and you're having to handle them all the time. So you have to be very, very kind of conscious of that. And, and that's why trading is tough. And that's why, if you can be in your own life, be getting over things quite quickly, not letting them linger, you're going to be a better trader, because that's what it is. That's really what it is. It's emotional control, and what you do in your life will ultimately be what you do in your trading. So learn to get over things quickly, practice that, make it a game. So next time, I give this a challenge to everybody, and maybe they can kind of give us feedback from now until next Monday. Next time something happens that you're not happy with, like you went home and your wife cooked you the wrong food, and you're annoyed, or I'm giving you little examples because people get annoyed with the most crazy things, right? Whatever it is, you went to the gym and it was full and you couldn't do your workout and you're really annoyed. Or somebody jumped in front of you and you're really annoyed. Whatever it is, next time you have something that really doesn't sit well with you, how quickly do you get over it? And make it a game, and try and challenge yourself to be somebody that doesn't respond. Like, somebody annoyed me because we're doing some gardening work and we've got a skip there, and I know for a fact that the neighbours put in their stuff in there. How do I know? Because I investigated, and they left their address on the stuff.
Was it Arsene Wenger? I bet it was Arsene Wenger. He only lives up the road.
Arsene Wenger, but it could have been anyone. Yeah, exactly. Go get your own skip. But the thing is, like,
because you're a Liverpool supporter.
Yeah. No, like the thing is, like, something stupid like that. But your natural thing is like, that's annoyed me. Why do they think it's okay to do that, right? And then my natural thing was literally to deliver it back to their house. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. If that's what they're going to do, that's what they're going to do, and I'm going to be okay with it, because I'm not going to start a war with my neighbor, and I let it go. But it's an example of like something small, trivial, but you may not let that go quickly, and then you just sort of like you're now in a negative state because of somebody else's action. Why am I going to be in a negative state? Because of something that somebody else has done, and that's it. So, and
that could be a whole nother conversation. That could be a whole nother show, because I find that stuff fascinating.
Andrew, look, if you're not happy, mate, please make the complaint. Sorry, Andrew. Sorry, Mrs. McAlpin. That was just an example.
I'm sorry, Andrew. Sometimes I've just got to let him dig himself out of his own hole. I'm sure there's men around the world, the husbands around the world that can't cook as well. So whoever it is. I'm quite lucky. My missus is a good cook. I wasn't even going to eat before I came out tonight to do this, and she brought some fresh fish back and started cooking tacos. And I'm like, oh, go on then. Who can say no to a good fish taco? Can't be done.
I can say no to a bad fish taco, but a good one, no.
Exactly. So on that note, Mrs. McAlpine is now happy. Well, Andrew's saying he's happy. He can't speak for his wife. And Roddy's saying, drop in a letter to them next time they pay for a skip. That's a good one. So look, let's jump in because anybody that is trying to take your money or that's trying to teach you how to trade, they should be able to do it almost to the level that this guy can. They should be able to pull up a screen and show you trading opportunities. So let's jump into the professional trade setup of the week. So this is the Pips Like a Pro show. So we talk about all things Pips related and FX related. Tomorrow is the night for the C word, but that's tomorrow. That's not right now. So if there's a currency pair that you want Andy to break down now on the fly live, just pop it in the comment section and we'll go from there. So it can be any currency pair that you like. So we'll give you like a couple of seconds to put in your request and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, no worries. I'll get the charts up as well. And let's see what people are typing in. Anything yet? Nothing yet. Let's get a few options. Why is this? What have we got? Only one so far.
I'm still trying to look for the Pips Like a Pro. There we go. Okay, so we got a couple for USD CAD.
All right, hold on. Do you know what? I just realised I'm not logged into the right one. Hold on. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, just give everybody a minute. No, I need to log into another account because this one I haven't got.
Right, Con, are you trading the exotic pairs again? Mud USD. Con's put Mud USP. That's a very exotic currency pair. I'm not sure if.
Okay. It looks like people are interested.
You've got another one for USD CAD.
All right. Well, it's not one that I commonly trade, but that makes it better in a way. So I will share my screen. We'll do the dollar CAD. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll do dollar CAD. All right. No worries. Let me just quickly. I will share screen, and we'll see what.
Just while Andy's loading that up, if you obviously it's going to be a toss up between if you want to do things, try and outsource things, try and find people to help you. That's great. But if you do want to learn how to do this yourself and take it out of the hands of someone else, yes, it's going to take you longer. You're not going to possibly make as much money as the guys who are saying that they're professional and going to trade for you. But we've done like a training program or webinar. So there's a free intro course. Definitely make sure you go through the free intro course. And then just a bit more about Andy's background and how he breaks down the trades. We'll post the link in the comment section of something Andy and I filmed where he goes through how to understand how to go about this if you really are kind of serious about looking at trading the markets, but still learning it in a really quick way so that you can kind of start to make some pips from this. So just had a comment from Chris King on YouTube. We are going live not just on Facebook but on YouTube. So Chris is saying, nice program, guys. Thank you very much for that feedback, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, mate. I'm just opening up the dollar CAD for our different time frames here, so I'm good to go. I am good to go. Move this toolbar out of the way. Okay, hide. All right, let's have a look. It's nice to break something up from scratch. So I'll walk you through my thought process, what I see. So I like to zoom out just to get a good idea of where we've been historically. This is from 1998 and kind of what we're doing at the moment. So instantly, the first thing that I see is that this is really in a range right now. And we can just we can use the auto lines. That might be useful. I mean, I'm just going to put them on anyway, and then I will also do my own work, but just want to see what's coming up like in a quick way. Yeah, okay, perfect. So this here, so what I want to make a note of here is this block here. That could be like a target zone if this is going to continue to stay in this range. So 129.86-ish looks like a really big block there. So we'll keep that in mind. There'll be some short-term opportunities as well. But you can kind of see really, this is really just, this is near support. So this market has basically stayed in this range for since 2015. It's basically been in this range. So now one little bit of information, like generally speaking, there's a reason for this. Like, you know, if you think about, you know, countries are importing and exporting goods and they don't want huge currency fluctuations, not unless there's a specific strategy, a specific fundamental reason why they want to weaken their currency or strengthen their currency. Generally speaking, they want some kind of range so that they know, you know, because if the currency is fluctuating too much, it's going to make it very difficult to make a profit from importing and exporting. So generally speaking, you'll find currencies where, you know, where trading activity is going on to stay within a range. So you can kind of see here. And why is this important? It's very important because it means that when we get to these kind of areas here, you know, with all things being equal, or these areas up here, and even previously these areas, there's going to be institutional demand and supply. So right now, that's what I would be thinking about dollar CAD. I'd be thinking that some money is going to be buying up dollars versus Canadian in this zone. Okay, so now we kind of have that picture. I'm going to kind of move on to the daily chart and have a little look to see if there's any kind of signs that this market might be turning. So I'm going to draw my down fibs. I want to see where the fib cycle is going to complete, because where the fib cycle is completing is basically an indication of potentially the market starting to go up. So we looked at the weekly chart. There you go. Perfect. That's exactly what we want to see. This market has just hit its D extension. So that basically means that we are basically looking for buying activity anywhere really in this block zone here. So anywhere between where we are and here would be a buy. So up to this orange line is a buy. So ideally, if you are looking for a really good price, I love it when the purple line, which is our 200 extension, it matches our buy zone. This is called our fade zone. So I love this area here. I mean, this would be a perfect buy zone, 117.26. Let me see what the what that looks like. Yeah, that looks a little bit low, to be quite honest. I don't think we're going to get that low. That looks a bit too low. It's possible, But what we could do is, I mean, that's there. Yeah, it's quite low. That's kind of got moving a little bit away from the range. So ideally, I'd be kind of looking at it really to sort of within sort of this little zone here. So I would be now thinking about, if you want to take a long-term play, I would start thinking about buying this up until this price. So, and then basically your stop can be below this price. So this is for a long-term idea. So if you wanted to buy this, I don't know what the interest is on this to be long. So if you're looking for something long-term, let's have a little look. So long-term, does it make sense? You'd have to pay 1.56 pips a day to hold this, so it's going to cost a bit of money. So just have to bear that in mind. But essentially, where we are right now is technically a buy point. Let's go and have a look and see what the 4-hour chart is saying. Now, for those that are a bit more conservative, you can wait for a break of a trend line. So I'll show you how that works. So you can just draw your down trend lines. Like that. That is good. That is very good. So look, we've got a break of a trend line here and a retest. I really like that. I really like that a lot. So that's kind of what you want to see. You see, like, it's broken the trend line, and I won't be surprised if that's a 618 pullback. And what would be good actually is to see, for those that have requested the dollar CAD, I'm assuming you actively trade it, so it'd be good to get what your thoughts are. So this one has gone down to the 78.6, so a deep retracement. So yeah, if you want a short-term target, guys, this is perfect right here. That is like that's kind of where the fib target is anyway. So targeting 122.6, I'd mark that down. So you could be going long here. You could be going long. If you want to do a short-term trade, you could be buying this, and you could be looking to target there, where we might get a swing, and then you could go in again for the next move up, and so on, up towards this line. So let's do a couple of little more things here. So let's add in our down fibs. And yeah, for those that do trade dollar CAD, please, I'm not going to see the comments, but type them in anyway. Yeah, this is a buy on the 4 hour. This is a buy on the 4 hour. This is in our fade zone. So perfect. And like if you want to be kind of, yeah. This is a better price. Again, it's that purple line matching there around 119.85. That would be a better price, but we may not get that. So I would just make sure my stop is behind that. So that would make it more like a 1-to-1 if you want to be safe. Or you can kind of go in half your position now and then put another order in down there. But you should definitely be looking to buy this up where we are. Let's see if the hourly is also confirming the cycle completing. So if you have multiple time frames saying the same thing, it's even more powerful. So let's have a look to see what this one is saying. This one is also in a buy zone, and this is perfect. This one actually hit. This would have been the perfect buy there, guys. This is a 144 fade with our 200 extension, but yeah, I like this. I think this is pretty decent. I can put in our down trend lines on this as well. 1 second. Let's go to okay, let's do it from here. I've gone too far. There we go. Yeah, it's just perfect. Yeah, so you just got to find an entry point on this one and look to buy this up towards, you know, I mean, you can go for this target here as well. The last point of support, 122.49 or slightly more, 122.60. That is a good short-term target. And then, as I said, if you want to go long-term, you could be looking for this market to eventually come up here and even higher. But bear in mind, that's going to take quite a long time and you're going to need a much bigger stop. So it just depends on your trading style. But right now, I would say I'm bullish on dollar CAD.
Awesome. And that is how it's done, guys. Professional trade setup of the week, courtesy of the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Andy Demi. Thank you very much for that, my good friend. Anything you want to say before we end the show this week?
No, nothing in particular, to be honest. I mean, hopefully people found that useful. I think the biggest thing that I would say is that if you want to make a success of trading, it's not about, you know, yes, you can get help and you can copy trade ideas, but most importantly, you have to understand them and they have to resonate with you and you have to be able to do them consistently. So get out of the mindset of quick money, because I know what people will be like, okay, if Andy's doing it, saying that, I'm just going to go buy it. But they don't know how to manage a trade. They don't know how to do the correct risk management. They don't have a plan. So more often than not, even if the idea is good and sound, you may end up losing money. So you make sure you've got the other stuff first before you just start jumping into stuff. Remember, come from an abundant mindset. Come from a place of like, there's plenty of trades. Let me just keep learning and developing and improving myself, improving my knowledge, to get to the point where I'm confident that I can just keep making this a consistent income. Just like, you know, this is what you do now. You just make money. This is what you do. You have to keep telling yourself, I'm a professional. This is what I do. I make money. I'm consistent. I'm not gambling. I'm not getting scammed. I'm just getting consistent results. Become a professional in your mindset, and then the results will show. And that's it.
Linda saying really interesting talk and trade idea. Priscilla's saying thank you very much. Roddy, perfect timing for you, my friend. He's just had a scam call to deposit 250 and get free training for 3 weeks 1-to-1. You couldn't make this.
Go for it, mate. Go for it. It sounds legitimate to me.
Exactly that. So thank you everybody for your comments. Also saw a good one here. Slavomir says, you give us a fishing rod instead of just a fish, or even only bones. That's why we are here. The comment king strikes again. Not only was he first in the show, but we're going to leave that with the last comment of the show. Perfect timing. So look, guys, thank you very much for your time. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow talking all things cryptos. It was quite funny watching you trying to move the MT4 platform, because you're used to trading view now, aren't you, with the cryptos? And it just isn't as receptive. I could see that was quite funny. So
yeah.
Hey ho. So all things cryptos tomorrow evening, my time over in Australia, this side of the pond. Midday GMT tomorrow if you are in the UK. We'll see you tomorrow, guys.
Take care, guys.
le genti che passeranno. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao,